Hey guys, Juice here. I am here to film a new video for you guys today. Today I am here to film, look at my new letterboard, my January wrap up. This is January wrap up 2021. I thought I wasn't going to be doing any more wrap ups in the year of 2021 just because I usually read a lot of books in a month and it's just kind of hard for me to explain my thoughts and feelings on each and every one. I normally read like 15 to 20 books each month, which is crazy. This month is actually going to be my lowest reading month in quite a while. I've read 12 books this month, which is still a great number. I'm going to go over my reading stats real quick and my new notebook. My smallest book of the month and my biggest book of the month, and then I'm going to tell you my total page number. I don't know if my total page number is updated though, so I'll leave the correct number on the screen here, and then I'll leave them down below as well. So yeah, let's just get started with my January wrap up. I read a total of 12 books, like I just said. So that's a total of 3,457 pages. The smallest book of the month was The Prince and the Troll by Ray Morale, I think is who it is. That's part of like these like Kindle limited edition ebook editions that are out. I'll talk about that, my thoughts and feelings on that in a few minutes. My biggest book of the month was this one right here. It was don't fall. Was Ghost of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare and friends. I buddy read this with my friend Taylor this month. I'll talk more about my thoughts and feelings on this when I get around to it, this video. And then let's see, I had 0 1 stars, 0 2 stars, 2 3 stars, 4 4 stars, 5 3 5 stars, 9 audiobooks. One of these was an ARC. 5 of these were buddy reads. 1 of these was a graphic novel. 4 of these were library books. 1 was a completed series. 2 of these was physical reads. 1's a new release, and then how many owl crates? 3? Yeah, 3 of these were owl crates. I keep my little like notes on a sticky notes right here for me. I love doing this each month. It makes me happy, and I like looking back on it and saying, oh yeah, that was a good reading month for me. Like I said, I read over 3,000 pages, which is crazy. And so yeah, let's just get started. The very first book I read in 2021 was an Owl Crate book, because it was the shortest book from Owl Crate, and that is How the King of Elfin Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. Now this is a novella / short story collection from Holly Black. Look at this cover. You probably can't tell by it because the ring light is very hard to see the amazing cover. I believe if I did it right, I put this in my December book haul, and I was so happy to receive this copy. I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was my first read of 2021, so it has that little special meaning. I love kicking off the year with my favorite author of ever. So How the King of Elfin Learned to Hate Stories follows Cardan and Jude. These are 2 characters we meet in the Cruel Prince series, which I loved that trilogy. Book 3 wasn't my favorite, but the first 2 books was really, really good. This takes place, I believe, in between, takes place before the Cruel Prince and beyond the Queen of Nothing is what it says. So you do have to read the whole trilogy in order to read this book. I hate saying that for the people because they're like, oh, so many series and so many books at so many times. So yeah, you do kind of have to read this. There's not much that I can discuss this book without spoiling it. I did love the audiobook narrator. I forgot who it was. Again, I'll leave it down below. Cardan, I love seeing him again. He was amazing. I fell in love with him the first time over again. Jude it was nice to see her again, and this is going to be really hard not to spoil what happens in here because there was like a sweet ending in this, and I love that. So yeah, we get a villain point of view almost, so that's all I can say without spoiling it. And this was the first book I read in 2021. The next book I buddy read with my friend Libby, who has a booktube channel here on booktube. Obviously, I'll leave her Instagram and booktube channel down below, so go check her out. She has amazing content and I love everything she puts out. So, and I also love buddy reading with her, obviously. So we buddy read Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. This is Ashley Poston's newest novel. Again, I think I featured this in my December or November book haul. Look at these sprayed edges. This is an Owl Crate exclusive edition as well. So we're knocking off some Owl Crates at the very beginning of the year, which is amazing. This one I really enjoyed as well. I gave it 4 or 4.5. Yeah, 4 stars. I gave this 4 stars. I think I finished this one before she did so that was kind of funny for me to like finish a book before someone else. Normally it's backwards. This is a short, like 300-page novel. It's a very interesting novel. I'm just gonna read you the author letter in here. It says, "Hello, Among the Beasts and Briars is very special to me. I wrote it when I was lost in a way you feel in the center of your stomach, hollow and hungry. But then I met Circe and Fox, and we found our way out of the woods together. I hope you fall in love with Fox, and I hope you find a piece of yourself in Circe. But most of all, I hope that whenever life takes you, like a dandelion tough on the wind, you'll find a place to call home where you can plant your roots and bloom." Happy reading. So that didn't really give us much of a summary, so I was just reading the synopsis for you guys. This book is about Circe, who's safe inside his kingdom of Aloria. I forgot how they said it in the audiobook. There's like no droughts, there's no disease, there's like, peace is everlasting until this girl in a forest meets this fox, and people think it would become dangerous, but the fox doesn't really do much. Again, me with summaries, I really don't do well with them. I did love the characters in here. I fell in love with the characters very quickly on in the story. I do wish like we got more from the fox's point of view, just because wolves and fox and dogs are like my favorite animal. So, but I really enjoyed this. This is definitely a good book to read during the winter time, which is what I did this month. This is definitely wintry feels for a setting. It is set in a forest as well, so if you want a book set in the forest, check out this one. Again, I really enjoyed it, but I read this, listened to it via audiobook as well, which I forgot to say, I did listen to this audiobook for How the King Elf and Their Night stories as well. But yeah, I listened to this via audiobook and I really enjoyed it. I give it 4 stars, and I was so happy my friend Libby and I kicked off our buddy read of the year with this one, and I'm also happy it was another Owl Crate. The next book I read is How It All Blew Up by Arvind Ahmad, I believe is the author's last name. I don't remember the author's last name. I'm so sorry. How It Blew Up is a young adult fiction novel that is also giving me contemporary feels, because when I read it in like 1 or 2 days. It was a really, really amazing and super hard-hitting novel. Its own voices for the LGBT community, so that's another reason why I picked it up, because I love reading queer books. And I just really overall enjoyed this. This has such a beautiful cover. I kind of wish I bought it this month at the bookstore, but I didn't. But I love this one so much that I gave it 5 stars. I love the characters. This was based off of Arvind's real life. I forgot who the main character was, but he is going to like London to like find himself all over again, and he came out to his family recently, so he moves out of state to go to find himself more, I guess. So it's kind of like Eat, Pray, Love with that type of setting, where he goes to like a new place, he travels, learns to find himself some more, and then he has some drama with his family because he came out recently, and he is holed up in customs at the airport because their family was arguing on a plane, which is very bad to do. And so he's just really trying to fight for his freedom, and hopefully he can get out of customs and back to his family where he is safe and found. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's literally like a synopsis that I kind of stole from Emma over at Emma Books, because I think she read it recently, and it's definitely a hard-hitting subject too. There are trigger warnings for phobia, homophobia, and then bullying involved, and blackmailing is also involved too. So definitely check out those trigger warnings before you pick up this book. Again, I borrowed this from the library. I don't know if I said that yet, but I borrowed this from the library and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 stars. So I definitely want to try and buy my copy of it soon. Maybe this month I will. But yeah, I'm just happy I read it. I loved it. I literally devoured it in 2 days, and it was such a great book. You guys should totally check it out. The next book I read was actually my smallest book of the month, and that is The Prince and the Toll. I already talked about this in the very beginning. I believe this was by Rainbow Rowell. It's part of those like Amazon ebook series that they have out right now. It has Rainbow Rowell, Gail Forman, Simone Chanier, and a couple of other authors involved with this. I didn't really like this one as much. It was very repetitive, and I was kind of disappointed that we didn't got a better like understanding of the story, because it was by Rainbow Rowell, who I love. So I gave this one like a 3.5. Like, I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I almost want to give it 2.5, just because like I don't normally give out 2-star ratings, but like this one might be as 2 stars now that I'm thinking of it, because I can't remember what happened in it. But all I know is that it was very annoying and kind of repetitive, and that's my least favorite book of the month, by the way. So on to the next book. The next book we read was an ARC, but I bought a finished copy on Amazon because I really enjoyed the ARC, and that is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. Emma Lord is the author of Tweet Cute, which came out last year in January, and now we have her sophomore novel, and just look at this. Like, isn't this not cute? If you couldn't tell by the sticker right here, this is the Reese Witherspoon book club pick for January, I believe it was, and I read it just because of that. I did physically read this, and then I listened to it via audiobook when it came out. I really enjoyed it. It's such a fast-paced young adult contemporary novel. I don't remember if there was LGBT characters in here or not. I don't think there was. What I loved about this was the character dynamic between Abby and her friends. Connie, I think, is one of them, right? Yeah, Connie and Leo. Their dynamic friendship was amazing to watch unfold. Even though they didn't really talk to each other throughout this book, because Abby goes to the summer camp. She goes to the summer camp to find out that she has a secret sister that lives in a county over next to her, and they find out that the secret sister goes to the summer camp, and they try to meet and connect with each other. It's so fun. It definitely has like a summer vibes, obviously. It was super funny. I laughed out loud a whole lot. I did give this 5 stars at the very beginning of the month, just because I don't have any 5-star reads. So I did give this 5 stars. I do really recommend this. I think I loved Tweet Cute a bit more than this one though. This one was just kind of slow in the beginning, because it was just setting up a new world and characters and everything like that. It says on here, a new love, a secret sister, a summer she'll never forget. So this follows our main character named Abby. She goes to the summer camp trying to do this DNA service test or whatnot, and she finds out she has a secret sister. That's all you need to know. And then drama unfolds from there. Rarely our family members are in this book, but there's a lot of family scenes, I guess, that was involved in here. That was really nice to see in a YA contemporary story. This did hit the New York Times bestseller list, so congrats, Emma Lord. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Definitely has some family matters happening in here. It has a sister bonding relationship happening, friends being friends, and summer camp and summer food and lakes and all that. That's literally all I can say about this book. But yeah, I really overall enjoyed this. And this one, this one or the next book I'm going to talk about is the next couple of books I'm going to talk about are my favorite. So really enjoyed this, give it 5 stars. If I would say to pick up a new release this year, it would definitely be You Have a Match. The next book I read, let me make sure it's in order. Yep, the next book I read, I was kind of disappointed by this one just because this is such a thick book for a contemporary novel, and that is Love and Olives by Jenna Evan Welsh. This is the 3rd and final book in the Love and Gelato series. I don't know if there's a series name exactly for this book, but I loved the first 2 books. I actually gave the first book 5 stars. And I gave the second one 4 stars, and then this one was sadly a 3 stars. I give it 3.5 just because the ending of this was really nice and it wrapped up very nicely. So we follow our main character, Olive, and she is dealing with some family drama happening here. Her dad left her when she was little. Her dad moved from wherever they lived to Greece to find Atlantis. He thinks Atlantis is real, even though I don't think it's not. This book has some very interesting concept in here. There was amazing traveling happening a lot in this, so this is definitely a good book to read while traveling. Not on an airplane though, because there was a airplane scene on here that I don't like. But there are like family drama in here, of course. There's some friendship happening in here. There's kind of like drama happening between Olive and her boyfriend. So I didn't really like that portion of the book. But if you read and love the first 2 books in the series, you would definitely love this. This is set in Greece, so it's set in the US and then it moves to Greece halfway through. My only complaint is it doesn't need to be this big of a book. It's like 500 and something pages. So yeah, didn't really need to be that long. Also, I felt kind of annoyed halfway through. I was a little annoyed because let me see if I can find a title page. So like at the bottom of each chapter, for example, chapter 15, if you guys can see that, it says number 15, half finished Sudoku puzzle. Like at first I was kind of annoyed about having that in each and every chapter, but then towards the end it actually made sense. So if you do read this book, it would all make sense at the end. I sadly didn't really enjoy this one as much as I thought I will, but I will buy it just so I can have it in my collection and just so my series will look nice next to each other. Gave this 3.5. It was okay. It was definitely a lot of drama happening in this book. That's all I can say for this one. The next book I read for the currently reading book club pick, and that was Becoming by Michelle Obama. This one was another favorite one of mine to read this month. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I physically read this because at work we can't have our phones out anymore. So I physically read the majority of this at work over the past couple of weeks. And then I finished it on like the 20th or something, right before the live show. So I really enjoyed this. This is a very interesting book. I kind of want to do a book review on this just by itself. This follows Michelle Obama, obviously. And it follows her throughout her whole life, basically. In the beginning, she talks about how her life was as a child and how she was growing up in Chicago. And I love that interesting aspect of the book, because I haven't been to Chicago at all. So it's kind of cool to like picture it in my head and be like, oh, that's where everything is. Again, this one didn't need to be super duper long. There was some part that she could have maybe cut out. But the parts I really enjoyed was when she was talking about how her and Mr. Barack Obama met in person and like how they became who they are today. Also, it was very interesting to hear like all the secrets behind the scenes stuff in her presidency run. That was a hard word for me to say. As her job, the first lady role, that was very interesting. She got picked on as a adult, which was like mind blowing that happens to adult because of what she was trying to do in her 8 years of the White House. It was also kind of cool to hear them say Vice President Joe Biden. So I'm like, now he's actually president this year. But yeah, I really enjoy this. I listened to it via audiobook, and then I also physically read it. So I don't really know if this should count as like an audiobook read, because I physically read the beginning of it and then I got the audiobook from Audible. So I did listen to the last half of this book, which was narrated by Michelle Obama herself. So I really enjoyed this one. Again, this is another favorite, and I'm just so happy I got to this book this year. I've been meaning to read it ever since it came out. If you cannot believe that this book came out in 2018, neither can I, because it feels like this book came out last year. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I totally will recommend this to people who want to read nonfiction, because this is my first adult nonfiction book for 2021. So if you have any more like nonfiction books to read, let me know down below in the comments. I am hoping to pick up A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I did started listening to that via audiobook, but I wanted to have a physical copy just to follow along, just like I did with this one. So I really enjoyed it. I love this book. 5 stars. Definitely a favorite book of mine this month. The next book I buddy read. This was my first buddy read with my friend Heather, and I was so happy I read this. This was another Owl Crate book, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Oh, I kind of wish I tabbed this book just to show you some beautiful quotes in here. The writing in here was amazing. I flew through this book in like a week. I think it took me a week just because I was working a lot in January, and also because of how big this book is. This book is almost like 450 something pages. So it was quite a big book for me to read during the month of January. I think it got me in a mini reading slump as well, which kind of sucked. But if you don't know what Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is, I don't know where you've been the past year or so. This was fun fact about this book. I guess this is Victoria Schwab's very first book she ever wrote, but it never got published for some reason until last year, which was really interesting to hear about that, because as you know, she has multiple books out, multiple New York Times best-selling books out. So that was really interesting to hear about that. I did listen to this via audiobook. This was narrated by Julian Whalen, who's one of my new favorite audiobook narrators, and I really enjoyed it because of that. The only thing I didn't like was the time traveling aspect and like the jumping between 2 timelines in this book. It made sense why she did it, but yeah, I was really shocked. Everyone said I would cry in this book. I didn't really cry in this book, but I was like very happy to complete this book because it was like one of the books I wanted to read last year but never did. So overall, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars, or not 4 out of 5 stars. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars, and this was my first buddy read with my friend Heather, and I was so excited to read this and loved it as much as I did. Now I kind of want to physically read it and go back and tab the beautiful quotes that are in here. Sorry about that. I thought our yard people was here, and usually when they hear my dogs would go crazy, so they were barking, but it was not the yard people. I don't know where we're at. We were talking about Addie LaRue. We finished Addie LaRue, and now we go on to my biggest book of the month for January, and that was Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, Maureen Johnson, and Sarah Rees Brennan, Kelly Link, and Robin Wesselman. This was an amazing collection to read from. I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 4 stars, maybe a 3.5 out of 5 stars, maybe. That's just being generous because I love Cassie Clare. I really enjoyed this book as well. This one was one that I meant to read so many years now. This came out in 2019, I think, because I had this on my TBR shelf for a while. Let me check the copyright and see if I was right. Let's see. Yeah, 2019. Wow, I was right. This came out in 2019, and I remember buying this the month it came out in, and I remember just being super excited for it. And I haven't read it yet because I was waiting for my friend Taylor to buddy read it with me in 2019, but we were terrible in 2019 and didn't buddy read anything, I don't think. So we waited until 2021 to start fresh, and this was our first book that I buddy read with my friend Taylor. So I did wrote my star ratings for each of the short stories. For Cast Long Shadows, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really love that one. For Every Squid Thing by Cassie Clare, I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Learn About Loss, I gave a 3 out of 5. A Deeper Love, I gave a 4. The Wicked Ones, I gave a 5. And Son of Dawn, I gave a 5. The Land I Lost, a 5. And then Through Blood, Through Fire, I give a 3. The Lost World, I give a 4. And Forever Fallen, a 5. So technically, with as many as a 5-star rating in this book, I count this as a completed series, but then my friend Taylor was like, no, it's not a completed series. There's 10 short stories, but they can be counted as individual. So that's what I did. So this was a collection of 10 short stories. The only one, I read all of these already before last year, and the only ones I didn't read was For The Lost World and Forever Fallen. Those are the ones that came out in this bound up. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Gave it 3.5, maybe 4 stars. I'll do 4 just to be nice to Cassie Clare. But yeah, I can't really talk much about this either. This is just a bound up of short stories following characters from The Infernal Devices, The Dark Artifices, and I believe a couple characters from Chain of Gold. So I'm excited to read Chain of Gold in the month of February. Hopefully I'll be reading that this month with my friend Taylor if she finished this book. Finish this book, Taylor. I really enjoyed this, and I was so happy I got this off my TBR shelf starting with the beginning of the year. And now I'm going to talk to the next book that I read. So, wow, I didn't know my chair was doing that. So the next book that I read was a new favorite of mine. I buddy read this with my friend Lori, but I don't think she's finished with this book yet, just because she didn't have the audio. And that is Rayber by Jordan E. Funko. I believe that's how you say her last name. This is a debut novel that came out in the summertime of last year, which I was shocked by that because I thought this came out in the fall because that's when everyone started to read about it and rave about it. And I can see why they were raving about it. This was an amazing debut novel from a person of color. And that's one of my goals, is to read more diversely this year on my channel and just in general. So this one I was really excited to pick up. I had, as you can tell, I had it from my library, and I'm actually going to go return it today because I'm going to go to the library to pick up some new books on hold for me. So I really enjoyed this. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't quite a 5 stars just because there was a few things I didn't really like. The main character was kind of annoying at a few parts here and there. This West African inspired story was very interesting to read and learn about. The magic system in here was amazing. Characters in here was amazing, except for our main character. Our main character, Tasria, was a little annoying in the beginning, but she grew to be a character that I might love and enjoy. And there was a huge cliffhanger in here, which I don't like, and I am sad that I have to wait either this year or next year. It says the sequel to this will come out. I'm hoping this year just so I don't have to wait long, but hopefully the sequel will come out soon. And I really enjoyed it. Check out this book if you want to read more diverse, and if you want something similar to Children of Blood and Bones, which I have right over here on my favorite stacks. Yeah, definitely check this book out. And on to the next book. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The second to last book that I read this month was also kind of a disappointing read. And if you saw my January TBR, this was my TBR jar pick of the month, and that was The Wife Between Us by Gary Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I noticed on my Instagram that I haven't really updated you guys on what I read recently, so I'm going to do that after this video. Again, this was another buddy read that I did with my friend Heather. This was our second buddy read because Addie LaRue was our first buddy read. I'm actually kind of happy that I got this off my TBR. I was disappointed by this. This is an adult thriller, adult mystery thriller. Whew, let me speak slowly. Adult mystery thriller novel, and I was kind of disappointed by this. I don't know what I was expecting reading this book, but I was just it's a meh book. I'm not really going to talk much about this just because I didn't really enjoy it. I might unhaul it, so 3.5 or 3 out of 5 stars is what I'm giving this book. But I am happy that it's off my TBR shelf. So sadly, I didn't enjoy this, but I know my friend Heather said she really enjoyed it. So I don't think these ladies are for me. Sorry. But ending on a positive note, we read Fence Volume 3. I actually reread this one this month in order to read Volume 4 that came out last year, but I never had a chance to read it because I wanted to reread the series first. I love this series. I can't wait to see how it wraps up in the 4th volume. I think it's wrapping up, or they're going to continue. I'm not too sure how many are out exactly. Fence by S.C. Pacat is the author, I believe. I'll leave a picture up on the screen or leave the cover down below for you guys. I really enjoyed it. It's a graphic novel that is a male romance novel, a male contemporary novel, and I just overall really enjoyed it. As you can tell, I'm messing up my words. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and that was the last book I read in the month of January. So, that was a lot to say. Yeah, so this is a long wrap up. Sorry about that, you guys. I might be doing a recent reads moving forward. These are all the books that I read in the month of January 2021. If you read any of the books, let me know down below. Which book did you read this month that you really loved? Or which one did you not really love? For a book I did not really love, it would be a tie between The Wife Between Us or Love and Olives. And then for a favorite, it's a tie between Becoming or Addie LaRue. I know I gave 5 stars to You Have a Match, but those are my top 2 favorites of the month. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up as it helps me out so much. Hit that subscribe button and turn your notification on so you don't miss any new videos coming from me soon. And I'll chat with you guys later down in the comments below. Bye guys.